the series used to be an international series for the Formula 2000s under the name of MRF Challenge. And the likes of Mick Schumacher, Lewis, Son, Fittipaldi, most of the Formula 2 drivers are driving now. One thing to be quick, it's one thing to, be competitive, it's one thing to win a race, it's one thing to win races consistently. Racing in India is like playing cricket in Europe. So you're going to ask me the question about Abu Dhabi now?
Welcome, everyone, to Cranks and Pistons, a podcast that fuels your passion for motorsport. I'm your host, Dinesh, and today we have a very special guest joining us. Please welcome Sandeep Kumar, an Indian racing driver and attorney. So it's great to have you here. Nice to meet you for the first time.
I think first time. Good to see you, man.
A lot of cool things happening here in India now. I came here after like 4 years. I was in Hong Kong stuck because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I came here after 4 years. Now it's like a lot of fire things happening.
I mean, COVID was like a big surprise for all of us. We didn't know what was happening. I mean,
I know.
Life's run. I mean, all of us were stuck. All of us found the new inner artist that we lost some time back.
Exactly, yeah. That's when I started vlogging more. I had more time to vlog. A lot of remote work.
Yeah, I got the creative side out of you, found the lost gamer. I mean, that's what me and my buddies did. We came.
Okay. So, yeah, let's kick things off at the beginning. How did your journey into car racing start? Like, I'm really curious to know how did it start here? Because in India, it is comparatively harder to get into the big game, and it's going really strong.
I mean, for me, it was like kind of out of the blue, if I have to say. I've been really passionate about cars and, go-karting and stuff since I was a kid, but I never had like a proper avenue to get, started. So there used to be this place called Danny starting in Chennai, which much later in my life, I figured from, my co-racing drivers that they also used to be there. But for some reason, I never met them there when I really, was hobby karting. And then there's this one thing in 2007 when Amron batteries came up with the talent hunt program across the nation. So they were like picking up amateur drivers from each city and then, making them race against each other. And then that's how I got into like semi-amateur kind of racing. And then selected in Chennai, then went to the national finals. And then there I met a couple of racing teams, and one among them was Mika Motorsport, which was at that point of time headed by Mr. Akbar Ibbai.
Okay.
So yeah, and then since then my journey has been with Mika Motorsport. I trained with Akbar Uncle, and I think we were the last bunch, or the lucky ones to be trained by him.
Okay.
Kind of busy with other things that he's involved in. We had a great time training with him, and then like we slowly, stepped into go-karting. Did go-karting for about 4 or 5 years till about 2012-13, and then about 2010-11 graduated into Formula cars, and then the journey has been so.
Okay, so like the go-karting thing is really what you sprung you up to where you are now, right?
Fair enough. I honestly, I feel like it's important for you to have good amount of karting experience, because if you are probably, I start racing quite late. I mean, comparatively to what people start racing at. Right? I started when I was 13 or 14 years old, and then got into like this 15. I know kids, we have trained kids, I've been around kids who start at a very early age of like 7-ish. They get into like cadet class or the micro class, micro max if you're using a Rotax engine, or cadet if you're using other engines. I mean, 8-ish, 7-8-ish is like the age for you to start now.
Right. Yeah. I think 7, 8, it's also the parents' push that it's gonna get you there. But 14, you knew like what you wanted. Like you wanted to get into the engines. That's why you were pushing to go there, right?
Because like for me, there was no one in my family who was into sports. I mean, no one was involved in any kind of sports. So for me to like get into something and then pick it up and then like get involved with it and then like go up the ladder, it was something new for me, new for the family. Touch wood and lucky that everyone's been supportive through the whole process till now. And yeah, I mean, it's been a fun journey till now.
Yeah, it looks like it. Like just going through all of your cruise pages also and the league and everything. It looks like a really fun event that's going on. It's like a very small, tight-knit family, it looks like. It doesn't look like there are too many people involved either.
Fair enough, fair enough. It was a fun journey for us also. It was a lot of trial and errors. Of course, like with the knowledge that you have now, if you started, I mean, it's going to be a different ballgame. But then, like, the fun of it is like your path, the journey that you took, the goods and bads, the ups and downs. Then I guess that's what you learn as a sports person, irrespective of whatever sport you're taking. And if you really want to, you're going to find a way to get it. So, I mean, that's how it was for me. And I climbed up the ladder, and then I am where I am right now. So getting for the opportunities, and I'm still hungry. Go away, settled out. Going to be listening for a long time to come. So I'm still hungry, and let's see the other things hold
Yeah.
me.
Our best wishes for that. And you've been racing well, and you're also doing law in the side, and that's really interesting. Oh, why law and along with racing?
I mean, law is because my dad's a lawyer. I mean,
Okay.
he does it. And that's how I had the angle of law, I would say, to be honest. Because like after my schooling, they want me to, pick my angle of direction. And then I was clueless, like, because the only thing that I was exposed to and the only thing that I was really, heart and soul into was racing. And he said, like, I want to pursue that. I said, like, no problem, you can still do it. Won't stopping you from doing it. But also the angle of education was very important to my family. And so they suggested this. And then, since I was a kid, I've always managed between school and racing, and I've never had like if it is only this, it is only this. I mean, for some weird reason, I don't know. This is what they call it as compartmentalization, or I don't know,
Mhm.
but I've been able to manage, and I've never had a situation of stress. Of course, you'll have like times which are really stressful, but then like I think it's part of the sport. If you want
Yeah.
that much harder, then I'm sure that you're going to find the time to also manage other things in life. And that's how, I mean, education is always an important thing in my life. I would say, like, I mean, I never found it hard to be very honest, but I put in my honest effort wherever I was. And at the end of the journey, I finished that. And then I ended up practicing with dad for some time. And then I realized it's hard to be with the dad. And then like I branched out. So I've been
Okay.
4 or 5 years.
Okay, that's also you're an individual practitioner now.
Yeah. So I
Okay, that's nice.
on as well. So I'm also attached to my dad's office. So I'm involved. And then, so it's been a fun journey.
Yeah, I mean, you're very motivated for the law side. You have your dad. But I'm curious to know, like, for racing, the motivation was about the engines, or was it just the sport and the way it is? And it is a very fun sport to be a part of.
The funny side is, like before I picked up racing, I was roller skating. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have anything right with me to show. I have like a rollerblade still in my house that I keep as my memory. So that was the
Okay.
competitive racing I did. So that was on 8 wheels, and yeah. So I think that was my first competitive racing I did, and that was on 8 wheels. And then like downgraded myself to 4 wheels after that. So
That's a good combination going down.
yeah, so I mean, jokes apart, I guess I mean, I think what I figured out down the line is like I like to be competitive, and whatever puts me on the edge keeps me, makes me feel alive. And
Uh,
I mean, there's a carrot to chase, and I like to chase, and it's good fun. I like to, put a challenge up in front of me and then chase it and see if I can, get the best of it. So, if looking at the whole aspect or the whole situation from a farther distance, I think that's what I've been doing the last 10 years. So, and,
And adrenaline's also addictive for sure.
and once you get a taste of it, you always want to like up the game. So, always fine.
Yeah. At one point, even I drove in the MRF track, not drive. I rode in the MRF track. I came for KTM track days very often. I used to just ride out, me and my crew. We ride out there. It used to be a lot of fun, but then I couldn't continue that because I left India.
Yeah.
That was a very good experience.
Yeah, I was looking up your story, like nice, fancy, like Asian cars with,
Yeah.
alloys.
I was in the car above Asia, right?
I
They
know.
have one of the best cars. Like, I mean, over there, if you look at Hong Kong, the most amount of hypercars are like located in one place is actually Hong Kong.
Yeah. I just had
So the access.
this one video that you had posted where there was an R8, I think V10 plus that was,
Yeah.
and then like, by, hustling through tall buildings, and then you can hear the engines basically like bounce off all the walls. That's
Yeah.
really nice. I mean, I was looking at that video at least 10 times, I would say.
I mean, the R8s are souped up there. They're very much souped up, but the RX-7s, they are in a different range. The JDMs are in a different range, and they can easily take all these European cars over there. I didn't get a chance to go for that yet because I was still in that European magic. So I was still only those cars. Slowly, maybe we'll get into
That's a good
that.
sight to have when you're walking down the street, always.
Always, yeah. And the sound, it's like music, when you're going outside, it's like, it's a sound nice to hear. It's a good wake up sound as well.
I know it like really, like pumps you up.
Yeah.
Very nice.
So like, I wanted to know, like, how was the first experience when you sat in a race car? Not like a go-kart for sure, but in the race car when you sat, because that's a very big transition that you made out of.
Well, I think the first race car I sat in was the first ever Formula car that was like, like indigenously made in India. It was called as the Formula FISMI.
Mhm.
Formula Maruti. It was having it had a a Maruti 800 engine in it. And
Okay.
uh, it's a cute little car, I would say now. But then, like at that point of time, that car was quite big for me. And then, like you have gear levers on your hand, you have a clutch to control. I mean, of course, you at that point of time, you knew how to drive a manual car, but then like driving it at pace on a circuit was fun. And then I would say like I always have this thing of like trying to get the best memory of all my first times in whatever I do. And I remember that I guess I was racing in Chennai with the Rams Racing at that point of time. And there was a series called Junior Cup that was promoted by GK Tires. And 2009 is when I first tested. And then I took part 2009 or 10 is when like I first got into those Formula Fismies and then jumped into bigger cars. And then like Rams Racing also invited me to come and have a look at the national championships in which they run the bigger cars, the Formula 1300s. So it was quite interesting as a young boy to go up there and then, look at the cars who were like, good quasi. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah. So I knew that I'm going to do that like in a year's time, but then like, the waiting period of that kind of time to come was like quite interesting and exciting. And then like, yeah, I try to put in all the hard work from my side as it like trying to get fit with whatever basic knowledge I had at that point of time.
Man.
You have to be in best shape to get inside those cars. I mean, it was a fun process, I would say.
So the mentoring was done by the in-house team, or did you have your own mentors, and that's who you like learned from?
The thing was for me is like whenever I raced as a junior with a lot of teams, I always had like senior drivers with whom like I always converse, like who taught me and who trained me. And a major part of that, I would say, comes from Akbar uncle, or we usually call it,
Mhm.
and it was a major part in shaping me as a racing driver. The right aspects of mental and driving skills in me. I mean, as much as the skill is involved in you able to drive, it's also as mental as possible. You need to like have the right mindset to be up there competitive. It's one thing to be fast. I mean, there was a lot of stage. A lot of people used to tell me, but like I've seen myself go through this. I would say a funny route. If you're a racing driver,
Okay.
one thing to be quick. It's one thing to like be competitive. It's one thing to win a race. It's one thing to win races consistently, and
Yes.
then championship. And the important thing for all of that is to first finish a race. So
Exactly. Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny thing, but then like once you go through it, only then you will realize that yes, there is a process to it. No one can jump the gun. Maybe you're able to understand it faster. You're there faster, but it's gonna like come through experience. So uh, yeah, so I've had the likes of Akbar uncle, Wam uncle, and other senior drivers at that point of time, Ashton Sundar, Arman, who like used to train me, and I used to be and hang around with them, and I picked up whatever I could from them. So yeah,
Okay.
definitely all these people that have contributed a lot in shaping me.
Oh, that's brilliant. How did you transition from being a regular driver to a full-fledged race car driver? So I'm sure, like, once you got into that car, when you sit in your normal car, there is going to be a difference of power and the way you drive and stuff, right? Like,
You sit with me on a road car, I would be a good, nice guy with my seatbelts on, cruise around very slowly. I'm not going to drive really fast in the roads. Because sometimes, I think off late, I've also like lost the interest of driving thanks to traffic in our city. So
yeah.
yeah, so I was like whenever it's going, so someone is going there, or like I end up going with my friends to whatever place we are going. Unless it is late in the night or early in the morning, the roads are free. So jokes apart, yes. So I think most of the drivers, they know that they have car controls and things under the control. But the major difference from circuit to a civilian road is basically like the parameters are controlled more on a circuit, and it's not like that on a civil road, right? So
Correct. Yeah.
I think the sooner you realize that, you realize how much responsibility you have on your shoulder, because you are in a sport which enables you to do things, which empowers you doing certain things in a certain way, and it's not quite nice on your part to abuse the ability that you gain. So I think that sunk in me quite early. So I've never been really rash driver.
Right, yeah, and again, you guys are all trained professionals on the track with the same goal, whereas on the daily roads, it is not the same. There are a lot of people who are just driving and riding however they feel like. You guys have a discipline and you're working on that discipline even when you overtake and whatnot. There is a specific way you do it. It's not called rush, it's fast driving. It's all about
Right. It's, I mean, one small mishap can throw your career away. And then if
right.
the guy who really puts in a lot of hard work, the kind of effort that you're putting in. And I mean, that will really stop you from being irresponsible. So I
Right.
think that's played. I mean, I don't know how it sunk into me, but then like, so that's what it's been there in my head. So right now, everything is going good.
It is going good. I mean, I'm really excited. Like, congratulations on the weekend race.
Yeah.
So, how does it work? Like, it's a series of wins that has brought you to the finals, or is this like a league sort of a thing, team win that brings you in?
And if I'm not wrong, you're mentioning about the Indian Racing League, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I think the Indian Racing League is not a new concept to India. I mean, it's been there around the block for quite some time, and the last 2 years have been like really good. And with Arman, Aditya, and Akhilesh Reddy. So all three of these people have been like working really hard, to put the league together. And then like the good thing about the whole show is that these guys are like hardcore racers themselves, and they really know what it takes to put a show together, and then what really is important in a league, and why it is more important to bring it to India. Because of course, racing in India is like playing or cricket in Europe. It's the famous thing that I keep
Yeah.
saying. And again, I mean, it's not important how good a player you are, and which sport you are, and how strong you are in the sport. It's more comfortable if the sport is a commonly played one in your country. And
Correct.
yeah, I guess this racing league has really, I would say the right aspect would be is like, the right word would be is to say that it's put in a lot of awareness among people, and then people get to know what racing is. What's been happening undercover is like slowly open to public. People are getting a lot of knowledge about the whole package, and then
Mhm.
that's creating a lot of awareness, and then racing is getting more and more famous, is popular, and it's getting known for what it is actually. So like
Yeah.
it, Indian Racing League is doing a wonderful job, and big congratulations to the whole team for that. And then positive for me, I was also a part of the whole show, and we have like some amazing lineup of drivers who are extremely achieved in whatever they have done in their careers, and then to race up against them is good to put your skill to test. And then we are also racing a really really quick car. I mean, it's quite similar or quite quick as the Formula 3 cars that run globally. So speed wise, you're also exposed to a lot of things. And then I think it's a whole, as a package, as a whole, I guess Indian Racing League is a huge success in you.
So this makes it easier for you to jump into the F3 car, because
What about that? I
well,
mean, it is important. Otherwise, which becomes impossible for a lot of drivers on account of budget to not race. I mean, this has made it possible for a lot of drivers. So you get reassured in your talent whenever you end up in a situation like this. So it's good.
I guess the racers, you guys always, I mean, us, I would include myself in that as well. We've always been into the engines, into the vehicles, and I think the audience, it started up, I like to term it as the drive to survive effect.
That is,
So,
that is right.
right, like,
Put it the right way.
it is a big game changer for everyone, and it gave us an insight into the sport and what kind of drama goes on, the glamour and the tension, and all the skill that is needed, the perseverance to do that. I think
Exactly.
that's what has helped everyone grow so much
Yeah.
more.
And people who are really hungry about the sport, who still want to be in the sport, who really want to be competitive and achieve things, a series like this like makes you more hungry and want the whole thing even more or harder from the end.
Yeah.
So I mean that's worked positively for me. I can only speak for myself, and as much as like few of my really close friends who are still racing in the league, I can see all of them are like pushing really hard, working on the fitness, trying everything to like be in their best shape, both inside the car and outside the car. I guess like the whole thing is like taking the quality of motorsport as such up in India.
Yeah. And it's also race to the top, right? You can't be very slow about all of this. You need to be quick, 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 quick.
So most of the drivers, it's a very limited number of seats that are available up for the grabs, and you need to be up there to be looked into. At the end of the day, it is the more competitive it is, I think the more of quality that it's going to generate, and I guess that's the important thing that India requires at this moment.
Yeah. Now it is really good. The situation's really good with racing, but I'm sure you'd have had your challenges when you were coming up in the circuit. Like, what sort of challenges did you have?
The main kind of challenge is like one I would say is like there were a limited number of tracks and track days that you as a person would get. Unlike if you compare a contemporary racing driver that is racing in Europe or elsewhere, right?
Mm.
And the racing is an expensive sport, and the cost of the whole show cuts the number of time or cuts the number of seat time we're going to get or gain through a year. Unlike that being abroad. And so that kind of challenge is something that every racing driver in India face. And then the other part, I guess, is like the sport is growing. So you're part of a growing art or a growing curve, right? So
Yeah.
there are some places where the sport has reached its top level and you know what the ceiling looks like, right? So you know where you're going. But then,
Mhm.
yeah, the sport is growing. And then if you want to like really pursue the sport, you have to like get to the place where the sport is like really good. So
Yeah.
that was not the best at earlier point of time. And then now with the league coming in and also other forms of forms of series that are being developed in India makes this gap more and more closer. So the jump is not huge. The climb is, I would say, like the steps that you're taking between or the next step that you have compared to what you have right now and what you're going to take next is not
Mhm.
a lot larger. It used to be a lot larger before. It was like throwing you in open water. Suddenly is like you get surprised. So
So, would you say there's a difference between, like, there's a lot of rally racing in India now? There's quite a bit of rally racing. Formula, I think that's pretty newer because there is a more defined track, and you need to head down there, you need to have a specific spec.
yeah,
Whereas for rallies, you just use your road cars, soup them up, tune them, and you
yeah, rallying.
win.
So, yeah, so rallying game I also is like I can speak myself for myself because like I am only exposed to a lot of formula racing and circuit racing, but as far as rallying is concerned, I can see like really good drivers who are doing really well in a lot of international rally championships, and they are not just going and participating, but they are performing. And I'm sure that that is only possible because of the rally game also being up there in India. And we have like really famous rally that does happen in the country. Like you have the Himalayan rallies, the South
Mm.
Indian rallies, the Chikmagalur rallies. I mean, off my mind, what I can speak of, and these are extremely really famous ones. And sometimes some rallies are really huge because, like, unlike circuit, it doesn't happen within a close environment. People get to see it more in action, and
Yeah.
that charm that it has, and then it attracts its own crowd.
Yeah, and I guess it's also a little bit lower budget production than a Formula race comparatively.
Yeah, I think rallying can also be expensive because like you put your wheel in the wrong place, you're gonna crash equal suspension or
No, not for the racers, for the organizers, so that they can actually make it that big and get that many people on the seats there.
yeah, maybe. I mean, I'm not sure if it's bad to be honest. Like, it'll not be right for me to comment on that because I have no clue what I'm going to talk about. I can talk on that, but I'm sure that it does also have its own challenges.
Yeah, that definitely. But I'll probably get to see hopefully this weekend, because last week I was in Mysore for the Mysore Gravel Fest.
Okay,
That was mad. Everyone there. So there was Pragati Gowda, Dhruva Chandrasekhar. They drove mad times. So I was supporting one of my friends. And it was a lot of fun going down, checking all that out there.
and look forward to seeing you at track also this weekend. You can get to see firsthand what we really do on cycles. I mean,
Yeah.
a quite a good car that we're going to drive this weekend. It's the Formula 2000s and
Okay.
really good car, the Formula car. And
So I read from online sources that it is an Alpine engine because the older engine didn't work or whatnot.
one car, I think they're still around the Renault.
They're still running the Renault engines, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can get you an update by the week.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come check it out. Hopefully, I'll be able to learn a little bit more about the car. So I wanted to know the specs of the car as well. So how much are you pushing? How many Gs are you pushing? What's the horsepower? What's it like?
uh, the Formula 2000 is quite a quick car, to be honest, because like a lot of Formula 3 drivers, I think it's somewhere between the Formula 3 and the Formula 4s, and a lot more closer to the Formula 3s. And a lot of drivers, I mean, the MRF challenge, what it used to be called before, used to attract a lot of drivers from all over the place to come and test or race these cars here in India. This series used to be an international series for the Formula 2000s under the name of MRF Challenge. And
Okay.
the likes of Mick Schumacher, Newey's son, uh,
Mhm.
and Fittipaldi, most of the Formula 2 drivers who are driving now, at some point of time have driven this car, and it is quite a I mean, it was a competitive series, and the cards are very very powerful, and it's a proper Formula car where I mean, with proper wings where you can set up the car. You need to know how you are going to use the aero work in the car to like make it to the corner. The faster you go, the more grip you generate, and the even faster you go, you're gonna also put yourself under a lot of G's, and I think it's a proper Formula car that I'm driving right now. I mean, you need to be very nimble with the steering. It's not that heavy, but then like as you drive faster and faster, you can feel the steering load up because you're generating that much more opposed to the wings.
Right. Yeah.
It's a funny thing. I mean, the faster you go, you feel that you're losing grip, but actually you're gaining more grip. So it was a different characteristic I need to learn quickly, because the last year I was driving a different car, which was the ITC that was developed by VW Motorsport, and that had zero wing. It was a proper touring car. So I've been
Okay.
settling and jumping between cars. But I've had the experience of driving a lot of different cars. So I have to like unplug and plug things at the right time to like experiment and ensure that I'm up there in the game. So it's a fun exercise. I mean, it's a fun car to drive. Like it was just
Yeah.
great.
And your body goes through a lot in the car as well, right? Every time you sit inside and you go through a
But
race.
Chennai being Chennai is quite hot, quite humid, and
Yeah.
a lot of liquid out of your body, and you need to be keeping yourself in good shape. That's one important thing. I mean, if you want to drive that car to its good potential, it is going to be demanding. So all of us try our best to be in good shape when the races come up. So let's see what this weekend holds for us.
Yeah. So what sort of training do you go through to prepare for such sort of
Um,
like bodily training? Like I'm sure you have your fitness set perfect and your neck strength, it has to be on.
oh yeah, of course.
Sure.
I don't know if you can see. I can just turn my thing, and so like like my living room is all mostly filled with yoga mats, weight plate, ball. Right, you'll see another bench. So the funny thing is like Yeah, we do a lot of work. Try to keep your neck strong, your forearm strong, your core strong. And for me, the biggest problem was I was cycling a lot and I picked up a lot of tightness in my body. So I was trying to get it off
Okay.
because I used that as the only kind of fitness that I was exposed to, or I had the option of doing during lockdown and COVID. So I
Okay.
got an injury and then like I was trying to get out of it for about 6 to 8 months and then like, conditioning myself. So I think it's a never ending process. You need to have like good muscular endurance because you're racing for an extended period of time. And you also need to have the same amount of strength that you had in the first lap and in the last lap. So, but muscular endurance is what I mean. If you have to put it within, a bigger bracket, I think that's the kind of training that you need to work on.
Yeah, I feel like you have your muscle endurance and your brain endurance is already you're trained for, so you just have to keep training your muscle endurance so that your body stays in the right place when you want where you want it. So like on race day, how do you prepare for this? Like mentally and physically, you have like a thing that you do. Do you have a routine that you do or not?
Usual routine is like, I mean, physically, what I try to do is I try to mobilize my body so it's like free flowing. There's no restrictions in the body. I do a little of like resistance band works, or and that's the basic thing because you're not really like trying to gain in strength in one day. So you
Mhm.
get the best package that is already available with you and make it as available as possible. That's what I try to do. That's just basic, just like a little bit of mobilizing work, a little bit of like activation work. Nothing crazy. I mean, if you have,
Okay.
just put it on your ears, and then like if you want to like zone out, zone out. I mean, nothing.
Do you feel like it's a bit more easier for people to get into the racing game and actually not even to win, but just to get in because it does need quite a bit of money. But in India, because of the exchange rate and the cars we have available here, it would come out to be comparatively a little bit cheaper endeavor to do for most people.
See, how I can put it is like motorsport is not. Uh, it is an expensive sport. Let's put it this way. Um, and you have to find your means to it. And all of us have like raced. You like earned yourself a drive somehow, and
Yeah.
sometimes you have to like uh, you really work to find the budget, and sometimes it's gonna work, sometimes it's not gonna work. But at the end of the day, you are wanting it so much, and you will always and somehow find a way to do whatever you're wanting to. And the important thing that I've learned through the years is like not give up. I mean, set a goal and like keep moving towards it one step at a time. And I think that's the best way to move forward. And if you're really hungry about the sport, I mean, if I could give myself as an example, coming from a family who had like nothing to do with motorsport, who had nothing to do with sports at all, they had no clue what sport was.
I mean, lifestyle wise, and I'm sure you would have had to made a few sacrifices and changes to your daily behavior. Like, okay, yeah, you started when you were 14, but from then also you would have had to change a little bit of your preferences in life. What sort of things did you have to sacrifice? And
I wouldn't say sacrifice the hub because like I was at a place where I really enjoyed what I was doing, so I didn't really know what I lost. But I guess like some things, if I look back and I see that I would have lost, is like maybe I wouldn't have hung out with a lot of my friends because like most of the times the friends and family I was exposed to was things on circuit, and they became like friends and like extended family. I guess that's the thing that maybe I wouldn't say I lost. Actually, I would say like I only gained these people.
yeah, that
So,
would have been more helpful, right? Actually, it would be more
yeah.
motivating and fun actually being with.
And the biggest thing that I think there's also one and bane to the whole situation. If you look at the situation with your school friends and your college friends, that something that you didn't do much, but then you were doing the same equal thing with the guys who you were racing with. So
Mhm.
you really couldn't say that you really missed out a lot. But something that I really did miss is like going out on long vacations and stuff because like you're always traveling and doing stuff and like you're traveling a lot for your races and uh, you're more focused on that. Traveling a lot with family is something that I would say that was the thing that we missed. But
Yeah,
sometimes they do come to circuit, but then like after a point of time, they said like ensure that you can handle yourself from your own, and then like off you go. So
the best wishes are there.
best wishes. Give us a call if you need anything.
if you like the job that you're doing, it's no sacrifice. It's like you prefer to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, you don't think about what you're missing. I mean, you're there doing what you love.
Just probably some late nights would have to be avoided. That's it,
Yeah,
with friends and
I
stuff.
mean, sometimes I've pulled long nighters, but then like I'm usually a guy who can't stay awake and
Okay.
I pass out. So good or bad, you play like you blow your like a loud music on my ear. Also, doesn't matter. You're playing loud music anywhere. I can like sleep like a baby on a couch anywhere. So that's been my superpower.
Tell me about it. I think we have similar superpowers. I can sleep anywhere, no problem. I mean, I used to work in airport and I've taken a nap next to a plane engine.
Ah, bad, not bad. I think there's something that we shared in.
Can you share with us a particularly memorable moment or a race that has been in your career so far?
Special ones, I would say, I think one that really comes off my mind is, I think in 2012, I think I started P2 in the Polo Cup at that
Mhm.
point. And then we had an incident in the first corner, and then my car was damaged, and then they're trying to repair the car on grid. And then, like, we couldn't repair the car in time, so that I was thrown to the back of the grid. The race
Okay.
was restart, but then like you're supposed to be ready at certain point of time, and if you're not ready, you like get relegated to the back of the grid. I was fuming and I was flying inside the car. Uh, I was a hungry little guy then, and then like like it was a lot of thing. And then like I still remember I was really furious, and then like I guess from back of the grid I moved up to P3. I think I was thrown to about 20th or 19th of the grid, and then like kept moving. And then like I finished with only like 80% of the car, like a lot of doors dented,
Okay.
uh, like missing headlights. I still have a funny picture with like one headlight on and one headlight off. I mean completely off, and then
Okay.
like muscle my way up. I think that was a fun race. I mean that really comes off my brain. Where if I mean it's like a good sign for me to like remind myself, like if you really want it, like if you're really focused, if you can channel your energy or anger in the right way, you can like move up rather than be destructive walking up.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's the
so,
discipline that helped you move up the line as well, right over there.
what you call it, but then like it helped that. Yeah, that's one thing that I really love. And then I wouldn't say one good memory, but I would say it's like a bundle of memory. The Formula LGB4 cars that we race on the JK Championships, the JK National Championships, they are, a good bunch of cars. And then like there was a point of time where like, 7 or 8 national championships, national champions were on the grid, and then anyone could win any race. And until you cross the checkered flag, you never know who was the winner. And then like
Okay.
the lead used to change every lap. You can probably go from P1 to P5 or from P5 to P1. And then there was a lot more than racing that happened to win a race. So you have to strategize yourself. You need to not make a move to be able to win a race. I mean,
Yeah.
that brought in a lot of thought process to the whole championship. And then if I have to like really remember and be fond of something, I guess those good years with with all the boys, that was like a really fun championship. Not very very quick cars, but extremely competitive series. I think at that point of time it was one of the, if I mean in my opinion, it was the most competitive championships I've ever seen.
Okay.
8 national championship, every national champions on the grid. Everyone wants to win another one and put another one to the belt. I mean, what can you ask for? And then that was, I mean, really good times.
And that would have been a fun race to watch and drive.
Yeah. I mean, you're always racing wheel to wheels. You're always nudging, touching with each other. But I guess like all drivers were very well experienced in what they were doing, and they know their limits, knew their limits, and the racing was so much competitive and so much healthy at that point. So
Yeah.
that is something
And,
very, very, I mean, that's a very fond memory I have.
and the strategy also, they would have known their opponent strategy because they've raced them a few times already. So they know how to play their opponent.
But
Right.
everyone knew what was each person's strength and each person's weakness was. Suddenly, 2 laps, you'll be friends with a car, and after 3 laps, he'll be your enemy. Round one, you'll be working with him to move up. Round two, you will be working with another person to move up. And then toe, I mean, the split stream auto, what we usually call it in that series is basically you follow another car closely, you could probably get
Right.
a in qualifying, right? So if you and another car in the front is like really pushing each other, we used to like help each other, give toe, bump draft, take the guy forward, get away from the back, and then fight the last 5 laps. So
Right.
we've done some crazy things in that series, and then it's a fun thing. I mean, it's really difficult to put the grid back together, but then like if you have a chance to like look at the JTA Racing Championship from 2017 up till 19 or 21. I mean, now there's a different bunch of boys doing the same thing, but then I was racing till about 21 in that series, 22 or 21 in that series, and then I mean, it brings me a lot of good memories from the series.
All right. Awesome. So, next future plans, looking ahead, what are your long-term goals that you're looking forward for now?
I really want to do good amount of GT racing in future. The angle that I'm looking at this point of time in my career. So we'll see where and how that's going to happen. And I mean, that's the carrot I'm chasing now.
Any specific championships or events that you want to
I
get
guess
into?
best of the championship is like the FIA GT Championship, or they call it as the WEC World Endurance Championships on a race
Yeah.
the cars, and then probably, if possible, the the prototypes. And eventually one day, let's see if I can, like if things work, I'm gonna race the 24 hours of Le Mans. I mean, that's a huge aspiration to have, but then like it's never too let's dream big. So we
Yeah.
put the carrot in front, and then also that's what.
You just have to run for it. That's it.
Yeah, let's see. I have nothing to lose.
There's a very high chance you could even end up in Indy 500 or NASCAR.
As long as you put me behind a wheel and ask me to race, I'll be happy. So
Yeah, that's it. That's the breed. That's the breed that everyone wants in their cars. For the future racers, what would be your advice for them? What kind of preparations they need to do? How do they prepare for this?
I wouldn't say a kind of advice. I would say like what for me is like you don't have to compare yourself with anyone. Just put in your effort, have your own goals. It doesn't matter a person is doing 100 days of testing. You can still be quick with 5 days of testing, or you could be so bad with 200 days of testing. You never know. So the important thing is to chase your own self, work on yourself. I mean, go through the process. Just because you achieved something or you achieved the peak of something, it doesn't mean that it's going to stay forever. You need to put in the basic work again and again and again to be up there. Because I've had my peaks and drops, and the difference between staying at the peak and going to the peak and coming down is, I would say, is like sticking to the basics. And as long as you're working on your basics again and again and again, I think like you have every better chance of staying at the highest point of your career, or I would say like being competitive for the most.
All right. So controversial questions. I can't ask this to a race car driver, but Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Who is your go-to? Who is your drive style? Obviously, when you see drivers and then you look at it, their drive styles, you see a similarity and that you're going towards that.
Say similarity, but then like the first person I started following when I started watching Formula One was Lewis Hamilton. I think he was starting his career in Formula One in about 2008.
Yeah, that was his rookie season. Yeah, 2007 and 8.
Was a Lewis fan in 2007, and still am a Lewis fan in 2023. Will always be. And if I have to pick another one, I would say Ayrton Senna. So Senna and Hamilton. That's all. So you're gonna ask me the question about Abu Dhabi now?
I'm a Lewis fan, so I know what's the response as well.
Yeah. So I have some friends who really keep sending me that meme or reel on Instagram. Just
Okay.
like I'm not even gonna open it. Just like don't expect response from me.
How many views to give it, right? Like we have seen it, we know what happened there. Everything is it is very predictable. Yeah, let's see what hopefully the next season is coming up to be a challenge.
I always see he's hungry. So
He is, yeah.
yeah,
And he's also trying to prove a point, right? Like, for example, now we have an Indian person there. Just because we are there, we are going to try to prove a point. We're going to head punch up much higher, and our perseverance is going to be more higher than the others who come from very racing centric worlds and countries and stuff. For example, Europe, it's a really big deal. I was in America a few months ago. I was just driving down in New York State and I saw a drag strip, and it was a race night. So luckily I stopped by, and everyone there, it was like a very family thing. Everyone came with their kids and stuff, and they're just getting into the car and they're just going on the strip, which we don't do so much on this side of the world. So that's a bit more, I think, inspiring for everyone to get in as well. Now, I think the Indian community is facing that and they're starting. Before, it was just street racing. We used to do drifting on the edge of the streets after watching Tokyo Drift. Now we can at least go into a drift round and play around a little bit more.
yeah. I mean, you can channelize your passion more.
Yeah. I love your sim setup, and I want to share that with everyone as well, so that they know what sim to get, what a F4 race driver is driving right now.
So what I have is basically a Fanatec wheelbase, and again a Fanatec a pedal system. I've
Mhm.
just changed to another pedal system. I think it's Simtech Pro or something.
Mhm.
Still yet to set it up because like my UPS blew in the cyclone, and then like I have to replace it, and then like again I have the same problem of updating all my software. So we don't have
Okay.
in the last when the cyclone hit, and that's when I really wanted it to work. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I need to. It's slightly down now. Probably a day if I spend on it, I'm gonna put it back together. So
Okay.
yeah, I have like a basic gaming PC, and I use iRacing or R Factor. There's one more Race Room or something. So these are the turbo or simulation softwares that I use,
Okay.
like system and a gaming PC, like I said, and then like I have a triple. If you can see, there's a triple screen setup that I have.
Yeah. It gives you the whole display, right? Like it gives
The-
you all around display.
Yeah, it kinds of it gives you kind of immersive perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Alternatively, I'm also trying to see if I can, get the VR. I mean,
Okay.
I have a couple of friends who have the VR, so I'm trying to see if I can get it and try it on and see probably if that's gonna work. Or sometimes it can be nauseating if you use it. So
Yeah.
something
I
to,
mean, you keep it for a long time, it might be a little bit annoying too.
but never know. Clearly. So
Yeah.
trying to see just something that I'm very fond of.
I want to set up my sim as well. So
Yeah,
I'll take some advice from you and I'll start building that.
Well, I would really love to. I'm very I get really excited when someone asks me something.
Awesome. Then you're my go-to person for all these questions.
Pleasure would be mine.
It was very, very interesting learning about like everything that you have done. So thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please give Sandeep_Racer a follow. He's gonna be racing in the IRL championships. It's not the in real life championships, the Indian Racing League championships this weekend. So go give him your support and check it out. India's race scene is booming and it's gonna be fire real soon. So I'll catch you guys real soon. Cheers. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.